Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we've got Joy Reid, Unhinged, talking about Project 2025 and how it's coming to a theater near you. She starts off with a few clips of Trump saying he has nothing to do with Project 2025 and then goes on to insist he does. Her bombshell proof, a hidden camera video that basically says nothing. Take a look.
I don't know what the hell it is. It's Project 25. He's involved in Project, and then they read some of the things, and they are extreme. I mean, they're seriously extreme. But I don't know anything about it. I don't want to know anything about it.
Well, most of us immediately called that out as BS, not just because Trump lies like he breathes, but because one of Project 2025's authors was caught on hidden camera saying that this was all part of the plan.
I expected to hear 10 more times from the rally, the president, distancing himself from the left's boogeyman of Project 2025.
Yeah. And you're not worried about that?
I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
He's running against a brand. He is not running against any people.
Okay.
He is not running against any institutions. It's interesting. He's in fact not even opposing himself to a particular policy.
Well, here we are, 2 weeks post-election.
So he did not try to distance himself. He did distance himself. He said it was extreme. You said he lies like he breathes, and then you try to use this as proof? What about that proves that it was part of the plan? All right, put yourself in the position. He is one of the writers of the manifesto. He's hoping that Trump will adopt it. He's not worried that Trump is putting distance between himself and it. And then he goes on to say he's fighting the brand. He's not fighting people. He's not fighting institutions. He's not fighting a policy. And that's proof that it was part of Trump's plan all along. How? Explain that. Make it make sense.
And what do you know? Turns out he was right. Trump is now choosing several people connected to Project 2025 for key roles in his new administration. Reporting today, Trump's transition team is taking suggestions for potential hires from the extensive personnel database created by Project 2025.
So, of course, he's going to pick some people that are involved in 2025. The reason? Because the people in 2025 have been vetted. The people in 2025 we know are loyal to Trump. They're going to run across the same names, right? So Joy Reid herself says that the database is extensive, which means there's going to be a whole lot of gotcha names floating around. For when he picks one, gotcha. From this point, they go into conspiracy mode. They mention some things they think he will do, but I've got a couple of things that I'd like to point out here.
And it was designed to sort of, squeeze as much juice out of the orange out of that first year, not to implement their policies, but to literally shock the system so that they have smooth runway after that, to basically subdue all and eliminate all of the safeguards and norms that would typically prevent or slow down or be speed bumps in sort of undermining democracy or misusing the government or all sorts of other things.
So Angelo Corazone mentions that Trump will clearly speed bumps, allowing for him to misuse the government and to undermine democracy. To that, I have a couple of things I would like to get off my chest. Was it not undermining democracy in 2020 whenever Bernie Sanders won the primary, but then they kicked him to the side and said, hey, let Joe have it? Was it not undermining democracy in 2024 whenever Kamala didn't even win a primary? She was not a nominee, but she was allowed to run for president anyway. Does it not undermine our democracy to flood our country with undocumented individuals, move them into swing states, fight like hell to get rid of voter ID? It's all out in the open. You can look this up. They're not trying to hide it. Oh, but voter ID is racist because it disenfranchises black people who may not be able to get an ID. You know something? That statement is racist. Was it not misuse of our government to send 65 million tax dollars to Pakistan for gender studies during COVID relief? Was it not misuse of the government to send $200 billion to Ukraine and try to slip in another 60 during the bipartisan border bill? Was it not a misuse of government, a couple of days after the entire world decides they're going to be good now, to give ICBMs to Ukraine? Then they loose that on Russia, and then Putin lowers the threshold for what it takes to justify a nuclear strike.
Right. And I mean, and what it means in a sense is that Donald Trump has a plug and play presidency. Like, he doesn't have to do a whole lot. It's already all written out. He's going to have the people in place. He's going to move out the career people who would stand in the way of some of the things that are outright illegal or unconstitutional. He'll just have his loyalists after he does the step, which is to get rid of, they've said 50,000 some odd career employees.
So career politicians, eh? That's your argument. Career politicians are who allow illegal activity in the first place. It's called term limits. Everybody needs term limits. The President of the United States of America needs a term limit. And so does any elected official, all the way down to the dog catcher, to not allow them time to become corrupt. Start taking bribes, sell your name, blah, blah, etc., etc. You know what you get with the younger generation of politicians? Snitches. You come to them like, well, this is what you're going to do, and this is how this works, and they're going to rat you out. They're going to tell on you. I fundamentally disagree with the idea of career politicians entirely.
Or they staff the government like any new administration does. These individuals are not just sort of, it's not just like a repository of resumes. They actually vetted them to make sure they never said anything opposed to Trump, that there was full loyalty.
I'm sorry, did I hear that right? Is the president supposed to fill his circle with disloyal backstabbers? Of course he's going to want loyalty around him. What kind of nonsense is this?
Part of the pre-vetting isn't just, they check off all the boxes in terms of like their professional skills. It's also that, they're sufficiently loyal that they will allow us to do all these things that otherwise would be illegal or not allowed to be done.
And the thing is, you can't say that enough. And I want you to say more about that, because you're talking about deploying the U.S. military. Remember, Mark Esper, who was Donald Trump's Secretary of Defense for a while, told him, no, you cannot shoot American citizens. You can't have the military shoot American citizens. He's going to replace people in the Department of Defense with people who will say you can.
All right, I'm just going to pull up the notebook here because this is a little bit important. Updated November 27th. DoD Directive 5240.01, Section 3.3. All DoD components and local law enforcement are authorized to use lethal force in the event of civil unrest, providing assistance with the potential for lethality or any situation where it is reasonably foreseeable that providing the requested assistance may involve the force that is likely to result in lethal force, including death or serious bodily injury. This occurred November 27th under Biden-Kamala in anticipation for the election. You know what's messed up? If you look this up on Google right now, all you will find are reports saying that far-right extremists are saying that the U.S. government authorized lethal force against United States citizens. They are saying that it's not true. I implore you, don't believe me. Look up DoD Directive 5240.01. Read it for yourself. So as far as shooting civilians, yeah, they did that. Now let me explain something else to you. If somebody comes into my house in the middle of the night and they're not supposed to be there, I'm going to shoot a U.S. citizen. If somebody threatens my family in a park, at Arby's, in a library, in a laundromat, believe you me, I'm going to shoot a U.S. citizen. There are conditions where not only is it okay, but it's necessary. It's a required action of prudent men and women. So that being said, hopefully they don't get us all killed before January. On a lighter note, there is a greater than 0% chance that Elon might buy MSNBC and put Joy Reid out of a job. So a while back, somebody, added Elon and said, you should buy Twitter. And he said, how much is it? He responded. So then he buys Twitter. So the other day, Donald Jr. Posted some clip of MSNBC and said, I have the funniest idea ever. So Elon replies, how much does it cost? And now, like a couple days later, he said something to the effect of MSNBC is going down. So yeah, he may own it here shortly. Wonder what he would rename it. Anyways, that's all I got for tonight. This TED Talk has rolled off the rails far enough. If you like what I do, leave a like, maybe consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.